Hello, everyone. I am testing it through I'm testing the audio through these headphones, but if I wear the headphones, I get quite distracted. I'm also going to try to maintain eye contact with the camera minus my screen, which is really distracting. I don't know why it helps to look at myself talking rather than the web camera itself. But I've noticed the pros look at the camera, which is kind of crazy. When you think about it, you're looking at this little circle. I guess people are just so used to doing that. Anyway, hi everyone, how are you? I probably should open up with something else. If you don't know me, this is the ASMR channel. My name's Michael, and right now I am actually here at my work office, and it is actually after hours, so I'm not working technically on work time. I'm just kidding. It's really after hours. I will say, however, I have put in some time recording the Lockwood and Company second book. So a lot of you showed a lot of interest in that, and honestly, I'm very happy because I absolutely love the Lockwood and Company books. I love the series on Netflix. I think it was extremely loyal to the Lockwood and Company books, and I just love the acting. I love the casting. I love the way they kind of followed the book, but they also followed their own path. I think the only little criticism I had on the actual Netflix adaptation of Lockwood and Company essentially was the Skull. So the Skull's voice was kind of the voice I used, or I'm going to use. I don't know what I did in the first book, and that's another topic I'm going to bring up really fast. But this video is not going to be about Lockwood and Company. It's actually about something else, so I'm just going to go really fast. The only thing I wish was the Skull was talking like this, like an old man, the whole time. And I just pictured it, like in the book, I think it's supposed to be representing a little kid, maybe. But I also pictured this very deep, like deep voice, like powerful, deep, yet was a younger boy, I think, when he died. I don't really know. Maybe he wasn't a young boy. Maybe he was like in his teens or in his 20s. But regardless, I used pretty much the same voice in the book because I just couldn't distinguish some voices from other voices, which is the only thing I really wanted to bring up by that is I am working on the second book. I think I'm on chapter 20. I can't be sure though. It's really hard to get around to. I just had a procedure done at the hospital, and it's not big at all. But I mean, I had some health stuff, so I'm trying to work on a lot of things, plus some health stuff not related to other health stuff. That's confusing. Basically, I'm just trying to keep a workout schedule, a hobby schedule, a work schedule, walking 10,000 steps a day, la-di-da, everything at once. And it is on my list to do the second book. I'm on chapter 20, I believe. I don't know if it'll be here by October, November, December. It just depends what time I have, and how much I have of it. Yeah. Anyway, so there's that. The only other thing I wanted to say though is I tried to go back and tried to do the same voice for like Ned Shaw, for instance, in the book, or even the main detective. I can't think of his name right now. And I tried to go back to see if I could bring up the voices, because sometimes I'll put on a voice for that character in the book. Just to warn you, they may not always be the same or accurate, because I forget. Sometimes I just record much later on, like many weeks out, many months, and I come back to the book. I'm like, how did I portray that character? Because he's been gone in the book for a whole many chapters. Before this becomes a whole Lockwood and honestly, I probably should just make a video on Lockwood and Company at this point. I love it. It's not what I really want to focus on today. Today I want to focus on something that I watched a while ago, and it was called Ragnarök. I'm looking at the screen, I just noticed. It's called Ragnarök on Netflix. And the first season, amazing. The second season, phenomenal. The third season, okay at best. This is the main reason why I'm talking about it, because it's just, I thought about this like yesterday or a few days ago, and I think it's just a matter of having closure with this TV show, if that makes sense. So for anyone who has watched this or who has stumbled upon this channel, stumbled upon this video, this is really just me putting it out there. So you can click away if you want. You can keep watching. You can go watch Ragnarok. There will be spoilers. I will make sure maybe to put that in the thing. This is going to be a raw video of just no editing. So, but there will be spoilers. So first season of Ragnarok, essentially, without being prepared in any way, shape, or form, Ragnarok is a TV show where there's a character. I'm going to butcher the characters' names. I'm going to butcher Magnus. It's not Magnus. It's Magna. Isn't it? So it's Norwegian. Norwegian. I know the difference. So their names are kind of difficult, and I'm also just gonna forget. I should probably pull them up on IMDb right now. But Magna is the main character, and he's supposed to be the new age form of Thor. So essentially, in this TV show, it's basically Norse mythology in 21st century, which is amazing. I mean, look what they did with Sherlock. Not that it's the same company that made it or whatever, but Sherlock was an older type of, I don't know, Victorian detective style thing, and they put it in the 21st century, and they put Benedict Cumberbatch, and they put, his name is escaping me, but I definitely know it, in that role, and it was amazing. The plot was amazing, the writing was amazing, the editing, the action, all of it was completely amazing, and that could be a whole new separate video on Sherlock because I love it so much. But right now we're talking about Ragnarok, and Ragnarok, sorry, I'm jumping all around because I'm nowhere near prepared. Magna gets the powers of Thor instantly when he moves to this new town, that has this mountain that was somehow based in Norse mythology. I forget how, where the gods were born or something like that. I can't remember the name. It's too Nordic. So essentially, this old woman rubs his forehead or something, and his eyes illuminate, and he becomes Thor. And Magna is shown to be a very caring person. He seems to have some ADD, I believe it is, issues. So attention deficit disorder. Hopefully I got that right. And reminds me instantly of Percy Jackson being a demigod and just, being distracted. But he can pretty much predict when the weather is going to come, when certain weather, there were certain things with the window, like you should close the window, or and then a few seconds later it slams shut because of the wind or something like that. He predicts when it's going to rain within a minute or so. And he can cause a lot of lightning strikes and stuff like that. So he doesn't realize he has the powers of Thor. He slowly realizes it, which is really cool. It's really it was shown in a very good way throughout the first season. And a lot of the first season, the magicalness of it to me was young adult coming to age, guy realizing he has the powers of Thor, and he's kind of dorky, kind of like a Peter Parker, kind of like any really hero that is dorky and ends up with powers. And it never fails to be like, oh, this is pretty cool. He has these cool powers, and now you get to see what he's going to do with them and how people are going to react. So I was kind of disappointed when I realized they were heading down the avenue where they were going to say he's crazy. I don't like the films or the TV shows anymore. They're just a little too cliche, or just kind of boring how they they say this guy's crazy, lock him up. However, they didn't go too far in this series where they like restrained him, and there was that whole thing of that. Really, towards the ending of this season, he goes to see a therapist or a psychiatrist, and he does receive medication for it, because people do things, he's seeing things, and he's reacting in a way where like he's killing a dog, but it's not a normal dog to him, it's trying to kill him. It's one of the Norse mythology gods, which I used to know the name of. But so in the end, after throwing a hammer so many meters away, that's like impossible, he strikes the car belonging to the giants. I'm doing a really bad job explaining this. I'm so sorry. I'm like going through and reviewing it. I'm trying to also, the first thing I meant to do was to like summarize the actual Ragnarok thing. I should probably. So yeah, there's Magna, receives the powers of Thor, and there's also the giants. The giants are depicted in these in this town as really wealthy people, and they look like normal humans. They are very attractive, and they can also age at will. They can change their appearance to look younger, older. And the idea is that there is a father, and there's a mother, and then there's a son, and there's a daughter. And each of them will age until, I guess, they fake their death, and then they are reborn into a younger version to make sense to the society or the town why they're still here after hundreds and thousands of years or whatever. So it's very smart, and it's very interesting. And so yeah, the giants obviously don't like Thor, and they don't really know about him, so it was kind of cool when they started to realize there's this guy who has these abilities a lot like Thor, and eventually they do find out. So the first season was quite amazing, so hopefully I summarized that okay. Amazing song choices, amazing just discoveries of power, and how essentially what Ragnarok really tries to, I think its big theme is how, its big theme is how these millionaires or billionaires and their companies that take over these small towns, and basically everyone works for them, how they can kind of call the shots, how they have a lot of power, how they have a lot of control, and how they're ruining the environment through, I guess these giants were storing these cans of chemicals up this mountain, and they were pouring down this waterfall, and they were getting into the water supply. And once that happened, everyone was getting sick in Norda. Was it that? I think that was the town, but I can't be sure. Maybe I'm just thinking of Nordic. I have no idea. Edna. I can't remember. I can't remember the town. So I'm realizing someone's texting me, and I have to leave soon. Second season, for the first season was great. It ended up where they had a little bit of a battle with the father at the end, the giant that was the father. And I can kick myself for not doing research on the names, but anyway, the hammer's not made yet. Thor has his power, so he tries to punching him, but the giant's pretty powerful. But then Thor is getting more and more powerful. Magna is getting a little more powerful towards the end, where a lightning bolt comes down, smashes them, and they both fly separately. And that's exactly where season 2 picks up. Exactly where it picks up. And there's these other Norse mythology people that are also here, like the old woman, and also this man in a wheelchair, which they get established in the second season. Second season was great. There was more Norse mythology characters in that, helping Magna get his hammer. There were so many epic scenes in that freaking second season too. The first season was good. The second season was just like a level higher. and I absolutely loved it. I loved everything. I loved the drama of it, him rejecting his power and losing his power for a time, and having to make the hammer to reclaim his power. It was definitely like a Spider-Man 2 thing, where just losing that power and then regaining it, and then the Giants, what they did in that time and who they sided with, and how the son trailed off because he was romantically involved with a human, and the other Giants kind of, wanted him to leave their house, and so he stayed with this human, but then he turns because he's going back to avenge his father, because eventually the father giant dies because Magna kills him. Just an amazing second season. I mean, just amazing. And then at the very end, they make the hammer, and he shows up, and they don't realize he even has his powers back yet. But I just remember that scene was so powerful when they were in the car at the very end. This is a huge spoiler. And they're just looking at Magna, and there's just like the grimace of the main son who plays the giant in this car on the steering wheel. He's just looking at him like, I'm just gonna run him over, right? And the mother is right next beside him, and they just beat the crap out of his brother, aka Loki, and Magna just like retrieves the hammer outside the back of his hand, and they just look at it, and just like their reaction is just, it's amazing. Second season is awesome. Then quickly, the third. Hopefully this gives me closure, by the way, just talking about it, because I was talking to myself about this in the car yesterday, and I'm like, I should make a video about this, and I'll just also just update you guys on what's going on with the second book and all that. But the third season, big spoilers, so just your final warning. If you want to watch this, click away. The third season was so disappointing. It was like Star Wars. Okay, here's my best analogy comparison. It was like Luke Skywalker doing all the stuff he did in the first movie, and in the second movie, and in the third movie. Right when Luke Skywalker was on the Death Star fighting Darth Vader, he woke up and he realized he was pillow fighting his dad, and he realized all this was just a fantasy. There was no such thing as lightsabers and the Force and the Death Star. He was really just a human here on Earth, pillow fighting his dad because his dad was a drunken alcoholic and his name was Anakin Skywalker, and Anakin had issues, mental issues. That's what they did. They completely took what I would call the readers or the watchers' expectations that they walked you through in season 1 and season 2, and they basically took a dump on you in season 3, and they did just that. My disappointment could not be quite stated. I mean, they took you all the way through season 3. He's cocky, he has his hammer, he's like, he's completely Thor. He's just completely arrogant, and he can't, keep a relationship, and there's a part where he loses his hammer again, and he reclaims it, and there's this giant snake or whatever, the world serpent, and at the end, it's all a big metaphor. In the end, it was all in his head. The first season was kind of right. He needed medication. He was just, in his mind, Thor for the metaphor. I mean, to graduate, he was literally Thor in his head so he can get by at a new school, living a new life without his father, with his broken relationship with his brother and sometimes his mother. But when they did that at the very freaking final episode, where they didn't hint any of this, I feel like they didn't, the expectations just went wildly away. When they did this, I looked back to each scene. I'm like, he killed a dog. He ran down a mountain way too fast, and even the officer was confused with that. All the things the Giants did, really. The serpent, don't know what that really represented. What was real? What was real? Did he actually just kill a helpless dog? Uh, did he did he throw a hammer that far? Did he? The issue with this, and this is why I was just so agitated with this ending. What was real? And if it was in fact real, what do I make of it? Like I said, did he? I guess I'm just more concerned about the dog. did the dog? Did he really rip the jaw off the dog at that one scene? Did he really kill the giant father? Did he? The stuff that he saw in his head. Is he just like, okay, I graduated. I killed a few people. It was all my head. I'm not going to tell anyone. I somehow carried barrels of contamination down a mountain in record time or off a ship to the police department somehow. Yeah, so season 3 was definitely disappointing. Had some honestly, I didn't even like it from the first episode. I saw it and I'm like, this feels different. This isn't the same people that made season 1 and 2. This just feels like a completely different thing. And then when I saw the ending, I'm like waiting for this big battle. There was no big battle. I'm like, the expectation of a battle was there since season 1. And you're not even giving us that. There was like this whole dreamlike battle where it went back and forth between real life and the dreamlike battle. And I'm like, this is so stupid. Well, if you want to watch it, here's what I recommend. If you weren't given enough spoilers just now and you haven't watched it, go ahead, do yourself the favor of watching season 1. Then watch season 2. And then I'm giving you the expectation that you can either just completely skip and pretend season 3 didn't exist, or you can go in with the expectation of season 3 going to really suck because it was all just a metaphor or whatever you want to call it. It was all just to get him through his high school years. And once again, I don't know what to make of all the stuff that was in his head and happened in real life. It kind of just abruptly ends after that. And that's why I needed disclosure today, because this is something I was battling in the car yesterday where I'm like, what a great show, but also what a sucky ending. So I definitely think it's worth a watch for season 1 and season 2. I just want to warn the world, if they watch this, that season 3, the ending, takes everything from season 1, season 2, and episodes 1 through 7, or 1 through 6, how many of there are in season 3, and the very, very, very last episode flips it all over on its head and says, oh, we were lying to you. And I didn't appreciate that. I thought that was kind of crappy. I know there's twists. I know there's, plot twist, but this was a little more than a plot twist. This was a complete mind-boggling and just dumb way to twist a story and tell it. And just, once again, you're ruining all watchers' expectations of it. So I wanted to talk about this today. I have to say I will continue to work on the book season 2, the book number 2 of Lockwood and Company when I can. Once again, I'm on chapter 20. I'm working through it. It's a lot more involved than just sitting down and recording. So if you guys think it's just sitting down and recording, I have news for you. It's a lot more. I have to have 2 screens on. One, I'm constantly editing, and there are many times where I say a sentence and I mess up, and I have to pause the entire thing, go back, edit my mistake, or re-say the sentence itself, learn what a word is, because there has been many of those, even though it's a kid's book, which was kind of funny. But yeah, it's definitely more involved than just recording it. I even take in consideration some of the sound. I know I can't handle the air conditioning in here, but it's a lot more quiet than my house, which is really nice. It's just, if there's a car that goes by that's really loud, or if anything, I have to stop it. I have to constantly edit it, and then I have to save it. And it's just, I know that doesn't sound like much, but it does take a long time. And you even have to, I have to try to remember and make it interesting and remember the characters' tones and what, the accents. And I don't really use accents, but I try to make Lockwood talk a lot faster and a lot more confident. I make George sound a little bit more dull, and probably not like that, but that was over exaggeration. And Lucy, I don't say it like that, but yeah, there's little quirks in each character in the book, so I try to remember how they sound and how I did it last, and I try my best to give a good interpretation of Lockwood and Company in the book. And yeah, it's so disappointing we are not getting a second season of Lockwood and Company, but I'm getting another call that's being blocked, so it might even be spam, but I'm gonna get going. Once again, this is not gonna be edited, so I apologize if there's any noise in this video, or if I don't know what else, if I'm just stuttering extra, or it's just painful to watch. I apologize. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I have not made a video in quite a long time, but I'm happy I at least got to talk about something. I wanted to at least make a video instead of waiting a few more months just to release the second book, which I'm hoping is a reality at this point. But yeah, so hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you next time. Alright, let's see how to stop this. I think this is the button.